Welcome, everyone. My name is Meagan Mermaid, and I'm the creator and visionary author of the Mermaid Empowerment Oracle deck. And I'm so excited to see all of you here for our lunar eclipse activations. So, we're going to just take a moment for everyone to come in and to get situated. So, if you are joining us, feel free to say hello, let us know where you're joining from. And let's just all just take a moment to just breathe. The lunar eclipse is over. It ended about maybe half an hour ago with this. So it's a lunar eclipse in Taurus. And hi, Leah. Hi, Danielle. Good to see you. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the lunar eclipse, but we're also going to really be focusing today on the energy of prayer and the energy of everything that is going on in the world, specifically in Palestine, in Gaza, in the Congo, where there are mass genocides that are happening in this moment in time. There's a very somber energy to this lunar eclipse and throughout this lunar eclipse portal. And so that's why I felt really called to us to step into this space of community and for us to come together, not only to lift our collective voices and open our hearts in prayer for everything that's going on, but also to feel nourished and renewed because it can feel very, very heavy to be witnessing and to be present for everything that is occurring on this planet at this time. So, I just want to start with going over a little bit about the energy of the lunar eclipse. So, lunar eclipses are they're connected to the full moon, and full moons are always a sign of release. So, this full moon is closing out a cycle of the nodes in Taurus and Scorpio that have been happening over the past 2 years. So, because this is kind of this energy of Taurus and Scorpio, we're being asked to and with the lunar eclipse in general, it's always a time of endings. So you may want to consider what has happened over the past 2 years, and perhaps there's things that are already coming into your awareness that are falling away, that you are sort of ending, that you are completing. Perhaps they have not yet revealed themselves to you, but they will. And so it's important to recognize that with endings, there are always new beginnings. And what we really need to do is just embrace this energy of surrender and trust that whatever is falling away is no longer necessary. It's no longer a part of our path. It's no longer a part of our purpose. And because the moon is in Taurus, Taurus can be sometimes a very stubborn energy, an energy of wanting to hold on to things. And so you might be noticing in your own life that you might be really clinging to things, wanting them to be a certain way. And whatever we cling to, whatever we attach to, will always end up creating suffering. So, what we can do in this full moon and lunar eclipse energy is really just to breathe and to release and to relax into wherever we're being called to go. And it may be something very surprising. Perhaps it's not a situation or a person that you're letting go of. Perhaps it's an ideal. As a collective, we're letting go of this certain view of the world. I believe that we are letting go on a global scale of being okay with complacency, being okay with numbing out or distracting ourselves when people across the world, maybe people that we have never met or that we will never meet, being complacent to their suffering. Instead, I believe that we are beginning to really come online as a collective and understanding that we are all one and that what happens to one happens to all of us. So I'm seeing that Cosmic Librarian is here joining from Australia. I'm so grateful to have you here. So, you know, this genocide that is occurring in Palestine, in Gaza, and it is now evolving into parts of the West Bank and other occupied parts of uh, of this area. This began on October 7th. And unfortunately, if you are in the US, as I am, the US is really on board right now with everything that's happening in Israel. And a lot of what's happening is not being broadcasted. I'm so grateful for platforms like TikTok, where people are literally screenshotting, they are giving videos, they are giving the experiences of what these people are going through, what they're witnessing. And I just want to start out with just some of the information that is most up to date. And then I want to talk a little bit about my personal experiences for this. And you're welcome to share in the chat how you've been feeling, if energy has felt heavy for you, or anything that you just want to speak into this space. This is a sacred space that we are creating across the heart waves. And then I want to move into this space of prayer today. We are going to make it very simple. We're not going to do our regular practices of bilocation or going to Sirius. We need to stay here on Earth, and we just need to be very clear about our intentions moving forward as a collective. And even this whole idea of new age spirituality or things that what do I want to say about this? We have to be very careful with labels or ideas or communities or dogma or beliefs that we hold that continue to perpetuate this idea of separation. And oftentimes, what I've noticed in a lot of New Age spirituality is this idea of almost like this egoic separation that we are rising higher into the 5D, and it creates this feeling that we are separate from those who are suffering. But in truth, we are all in this together. And even if you feel that you are originating from a different star system, which is fine to some degree, we all have. And to another degree, it's so much bigger than that. And that's simply just another story that's trying to explain only a small fractal of God consciousness, which is so vast, it can never be explained through one idea. So I just really want us to get back to this space of simplicity, of recognizing that whatever we believe, wherever our path has taken us, that we can come together in our collective prayer. If you don't like the word prayer, you can use the word manifestation or positive thought. It doesn't matter. Let's not get stuck in the words. Let's really just open this space of our hearts today. Danielle is sharing, recognizing the need to heal separation, division, conflict within myself. I love that. And that's so beautiful, Danielle, because it's really something that we're facing as an individual as well as a collective. So what you're feeling individually is mirroring the things that we're experiencing as the collective. And that's what we'll start to learn, is that we're all sort of acting out these roles in this play of consciousness, and we can have this meta like idea and version of how reality is interacting and interfacing. But we've also got to be in it as the human with all of our human emotions, because it's our emotions and it's our heart that are going to lead us and others out of suffering. It does no good if we begin to heal ourselves and we forget about other people, because the reason why we're on this healing journey, the reason why we have chosen, or maybe not even chosen, but to however we got here, have started to wake up, it's so that we can allow others that same space and that same opportunity to see that there is so much more than what meets the eye. So I'm going to dive right into some of the statistics and information that I've gathered about what's happening in Palestine in this moment. So since October 7th, 7,703 martyrs have been killed. 3,500 of which are children. Last night, there was a huge mass airstrike and ground invasions as well. And in that time, all communication to the Gaza Strip was cut off. So that means that we don't know what's happening there in this moment. And it also means that the people that are there have no way of communicating with each other. This is also beginning to expand, not only to Gaza Strip, but also to West Bank and other areas of occupied Palestine. There are Israeli government officials, Israeli military is now giving Israeli settlers weapons, guns. There was a man in the West Bank that was simply picking olives and off an olive tree, and he was shot. And so most of the people that are dying, 50% of the people that live in Palestine in the Gaza Strip at this time are children. And what's happening is they're getting leaflets that are telling them to evacuate to certain places. And when they evacuate, they are bombed. They are killed. They're being told to go to certain places so that they can be targeted. And I know this information is not always easy to hear, but we've got to understand that this is happening, and the world as we see it now will never be the same. And what's happening is a lot of this is being covered up. It's being disregarded. It's being seen as though I posted a video, for example, and I had some people say like, oh, well, they did it to themselves. And so there's this misinformation that it's terrorist groups and that Israel is acting out of self-defense. But what we know to be true is this is not self-defense. This is ethnic cleansing. This is genocide. And not only are they being bombed, but white phosphorus is being poured out from the sky. White phosphorus is an international war crime. And what this does is it literally burns the skin of those that are exposed to it. It also kills the wildlife. It kills the land. And so many Palestinians are choosing to stay where they are. They are refusing to leave because their last form of non-resistance is to die on this land. And so we've got to understand how huge this is. And this is just in Palestine. There's also a genocide that's happening in the Congo with many people that are being subject to horrible situations over mining of a substance called, I believe, coltan, which actually creates our iPhones and all of these things. And this war, this bombing, all of this that's happening is being funded by US tax dollars. There is a lot of connection between Israel and the US, and a lot of that money that Israel is using is funded by the US. So they have been asking for a ceasefire since October 7th. That has not happened yet. No one is able to go in to offer aid, to offer water. There is no water. There is no electricity. There is schools that have been bombed, homes that have been bombed, churches, hospitals. Hospitals are trying to give surgeries to people with no medicine, no anesthesia. I have seen videos of children that have lost their mothers that are crying for their mothers, their fathers carrying their children in body bags. This is something that is not to be ignored. This is something that we cannot turn our eyes away from or think, oh, this has nothing to do with me. This is our moment where we're starting to see the atrocities that are happening, because we must acknowledge them, and we must come together, and we must be the voices for the voiceless. So today we're going to be just sending prayers to everyone that's involved, not only to those that are a part of this horrible genocide, but also those who are participating in it, whether that be consciously or unconsciously. And just, sending this energy of grace, the energy of the grace of God that is really just bigger than we could ever imagine, bigger than, whatever we see. And yes, there is always a bigger plan. And yes, peace will prevail and love will prevail and all of that will prevail. But a part of those steps to get to that space is the acknowledgement and the choosing to not look away, to not stop talking about it. When we have platforms like this, like YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, this is our opportunity to talk about what's going on and to really begin to continue this conversation. Now, there are other things that we can do as well. There's advocacy and, there's places that you can donate to. But I really want to focus today on this idea of compassionate witnessing. And so all of consciousness, all of humanity, the purpose of it, in a nutshell, is to be experienced and to be witnessed. And in that experiencing and in that witnessing, even if it's our own lives and, we're healing our own trauma, we have to some degree, witness and call back those soul parts of us that have been lost or fragmented. And on a global scale right now, we are being asked to keep our hearts open and witness what's happening. I don't know how many horrible videos I have watched, and it's not easy to do that. But these people that are being lost, children are writing their names on their arms so that they can be identified when they die. There's so much. There's so much. And think about it. Think about how that would feel if you were losing your family members, your home, everything that you've worked for. And we have to not turn away from that, even if it's a difficult thing to look at. Right now, the sun is in Scorpio. We're in Scorpio season. It's a time to go into that depth of suffering and to realize that we can bring that energy of love into the darkest of places and choose to keep our heart open, to not look away from that suffering, to honor the value and the importance of every single human life that is being martyred, that is being killed, because a part of their purpose on a larger scale is martyring their lives in order for this awakening to happen. And yes, that's true. But we also have to recognize that as a human life, they matter. They matter. Each one of those men and women and children matter. Their lives matter. Their culture matters. Their legacy matters. And we have to keep this conversation going. We have to keep talking about it. We have to honor it until something changes, because it will change. But it's only going to change when we face it, and we face it with love. And it's easy to want to blame certain people. We can blame it's the US or it's Biden or it's Israel or it's the terrorist. And we have to understand that that is continuing to pour more violence. There are no neutral thoughts. There are only thoughts of love, and there are thoughts of fear. So if you need a moment to process the anger of what's happening, or the helplessness or the disempowerment, be with that. Be with that. But recognize that holding that energy of resentment or anger or rage towards any character in this moment in time is not doing anyone any good. So this is why we have to come to this space of surrender. And it's no surprise that this has been occurring during the eclipse portal, between the solar eclipse that took place earlier this month into this lunar eclipse. In the 2 weeks of the eclipse portal, it's always a time where we're really diving deep into the shadow and when all of that collective darkness comes up. But it's also when we step out of the eclipse portal that this new energy, this new chapter, it is revealed. And we have to see that. We have to see that good will come from this, but we must also be present in the pain. And so before we step into this space of prayer, feel free to share anything in the chat. Let us know how you're doing. Let us know, how we can support you, and just, even say hello. The simple way of creating community is a really powerful way for us to recognize that we're not alone, even if it may feel that way, even if it may feel that you're I know in my life, it feels like I'm like begging people to care about this. And I'm not normally a political person. I haven't really spoken upon world issues in the past. And it's interesting because the lunar eclipse is happening in my third house, and it's the house of communication. And I'm already seeing how this is changing and evolving me, and how I'm trying to even fathom how I can continue to live and go about my daily life when this genocide is happening. And so if you're experiencing something similar, know that you are not alone, and know that it's okay to feel all of those things. And it's okay to feel that helplessness and wonder, like, how can I do something? What could I possibly do to change this? And that's why prayer is one of the most powerful things that we can do. We can come into this place of united intention, and we can choose to bring love and light into the darkest of places. So I'll just give you guys just a moment or two more if anyone has anything they'd like to contribute to the chat. Hi, Mariella. Mariella is joining us from Toronto. Thank you so much for being here with us. Okay. So let's just take a moment to center ourselves, taking a few deep breaths in and out. In and out. Just becoming present in this space. And I want you to imagine that this beautiful white light directly from source consciousness begins to descend like a dove of peace. And it flows like a waterfall through your crown chakra, through your third eye, through your throat, your heart, your solar plexus, your sacral chakra, your root chakra, all the way down to your feet. And this light begins to pour out of you, creating a bubble of white light around you. And this bubble of white light begins to shift and change into pinks and purples and blues and greens. And we're now being surrounded by the rainbow light energy of Sirius that will support us in our travels today. And so let's just feel that energy of light that we are calling in, that energy of hope, that energy of peace, and just continue to breathe. Feeling that energy of grace, releasing any fear, releasing any grief, releasing any sadness. And we just open our hearts and our minds today in this space of prayer. And we just ask for blessings of peace upon each and every person that is a part of this genocide, both in Palestine as well as the Congo and anywhere else on earth right now. Any single being that is suffering, we send our love, we send our lights. We ask that all of those who have power to change policies, that their hearts are opened, that this energy of compassion, these waves of compassion begin to cover this entire globe. Every space on earth, may you feel this energy of grace and love and compassion beginning to permeate every particle of every fiber of every moment of every space upon this earth. And for those that are war officials, presidents, leaders of nations that have the power to change, may their hearts be softened. May all of those who are contributing to violence, recognize the error of their ways. May their hearts be changed. May their eyes be changed. We call upon miracles. We bless the bodies and the hearts and minds of each of those beings right now that are suffering. We ask that a blanket of light, of white light directly from source consciousness, begin to surround all of Gaza. We ask that each and every child, each and every mother, each and every person that is a part of this, that is waiting, that feels that their time of death is coming, may they feel that relief, that peace that passeth all understanding. And we ask that each and every being on this earth, that they awaken from complacency, that they awaken from distraction and see the horror, the atrocities that are happening, and compassionately witness them. We ask for miraculous solutions. We ask for blessings beyond measure. We ask that new opportunities arise, that new advocacy, new leaders begin to arise, and that the ceasefire happens, that the bombings stop, that all of the fighting stops. And I want you to visualize a moment in the not so distant future where each and every person on this planet is safe. They are happy and they are healthy and they are abundant and they have access to everything that they need to thrive: food, water, shelter. That they're there with their families, that they're able to communicate, and not only communicate, but to receive visionary ideas and creative inspiration. And we pray for this earth. We pray for the land. We pray for the animals. We pray for the winged ones and the four-leggeds. And we just ask for this unity of God consciousness to continue to flow through this planet. And finally, we just ask that the energy of grace pour forth directly from God, directly from source consciousness. And this grace just go wherever it needs to go, both collectively and in our own lives. And we ask that we tend to our own hearts, that we practice self-care so that we may be leaders and we may be advocates, and we may continue to speak up while also knowing that we can only serve others when our cup is full. We ask for ways to support each other and to continue to share what is going on. We ask for safety of technology. We ask that the algorithms are transcended so that the information of truth can pour forth freely across the planet at this time. We ask for shadow bans to be released, for technological glitches to be released. We ask for the higher waves of God consciousness, the acidic frequencies of God to now descend across this planet. And that all of those who are holders of this frequency begin to recognize their power with humility and rise up in leadership, beginning to speak, and not only speak, but to hold this frequency within their hearts. We ask that we humbly serve and say every day, how may I be of service? And we end today with the prayer of Saint Francis. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. And where there is darkness, light. Grant that I may not much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it's in giving that we receive, pardoning that we are pardoned, and dying that we are born to eternal life. And we lift up these prayers to the highest frequencies of love, truth, healing, and peace. For the highest frequency of love, the highest good of all, and the highest timeline for all. And we ask that we now receive this grace and that we be blessed as miracle makers to others, so that our voices, our platforms, whatever method that we have of communicating this frequency, this light, and the words of truth, may we do so now with confidence and trust, knowing that the Most High is guiding us. And so it is. So thank you so much today for joining in this collective prayer and continuing to send love and light to all of the beings on this planet that are suffering. Cosmic Librarian is sharing, yes, feeling many mixed emotions. Danielle is saying, not easy to watch horror and keep the heart open. And I'm so glad that you shared that, because it's true. It's not easy. And, oftentimes in this new age community, which there's a lot of darkness in, unfortunately, this whole idea of being an empath has really gotten skewed. And this idea of I'm too sensitive for this, our hearts are made to process and to transmute mass amounts of grief if we allow this to happen, because sometimes it is hard to look at. And the thing is that our tears are a part of the healing process. Feeling these emotions is a part of the healing process, not only for ourselves, but for others. And it doesn't mean that you have to sit glued in front of your phone hour after hour. But what I've been doing is I'll take about 10 to 15 minutes and I will get updates of what's happening, and I will share and I will repost, and then I will go into prayer and I'll do my mantras and I'll do whatever meditations, I'll light a candle. So I just encourage you to find your own practice of being with this depth of grief, and at the same time practicing that self-care, but really learning that through this and through being able to process collective grief, which we're all being asked to do at this moment, you will discover how strong you are and how powerful you are. And you will also see that as you process this collective grief of your own free will, that your heart will begin to open to not only experience this grief and sadness, but to experience the totality of life, including greater levels of love, greater levels of appreciation, greater levels of ecstasy and bliss. And I encourage you to focus on gratitude. There are many things that are happening for all of us, many things that are where we're all struggling. We're all struggling in many ways. I encourage you to focus on gratitude, that you have a home right now, that you have water, that you have food, that you have electricity, that you are connected through these means of your phone, of your computer, that you can communicate, that you can receive information. Have gratitude for your children and your family and all of the beautiful privileges that we have right now. And you don't have to guilt yourself for having them while others are suffering. That's not the point. But it's our gratitude and our open heart that is allowing the frequency of light to come into this planet that will allow everyone to experience the peace and the freedom and the liberation that we were designed for. So I thank you so much for watching this. And if you're willing to, or excuse me, if you'd like to work with me on a deeper level, I'm going to be offering Gene Keys sessions and also my monthly mermaid moon readings, and all of that is on my website. So feel free to reach out or book an exploratory call if you'd like to learn more. And again, may you all be blessed in this beautiful space of the lunar eclipse and full moon. And I believe in you and I love you. Bye, everyone. Have a great day.